Hello and welcome to today's inspiring edition of BOI Impact. I am Hadiza Olaoshibiko. I started by saying inspiring because today's program on one of the Bank of Industry's customer of over 9 years will show you how a wholly indigenous company that was incorporated in 1975 with the aim of manufacturing electrical wires and cables that meet international standards for oil industry, commercial and residential properties has transformed into one of Africa's foremost cable manufacturing companies. Coleman Technical Industries Limited is a pioneer manufacturer of high voltage, low voltage, fiber optic, marine EPR and telecommunication cables in Nigeria. And guess what? It is wholly indigenous. In 1998, the company could only process 1,200 metric tons of copper and 800 metric tons of aluminium per annum. But today, it has become one of Africa's largest ultra-modern cable factories with an installed capacity to process 15,000 metric tons of copper and 18,000 metric tons of aluminium per annum. All these are, of course, produced in Nigeria from its factories located at Arepo along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and the one on the Shagamu-Benin Expressway, all in Ogun State, southwest Nigeria. BOI's Impact crew met with the Managing Director of Coleman Technical Industries Limited, Mr. George Onofokon, who gave an insight into how to navigate the murky waters of entrepreneurship while divulging the low-hanging fruits too. The Executive Director, Engineer Michael Onofokon's interview also reveals the can-do spirit of Nigerians and of course the fact that Nigeria has all it takes to become an industrialized country. Kudos to the federal government of Nigeria for supporting Nigeria's industrial sector through the Bank of Industry. We shall take off by showing a video clip of the commissioning of Coleman's optic fiber cable manufacturing plant.
It is indeed a pleasure of mine and a privilege to be here commissioning this fiber optics cable, the first in Nigeria, the first in West Africa, the fifth in Africa. This will continue to provide job opportunities for our people. It will increase economic activity in our state, and by so doing, it will boost the lives of our people. I commission this to the glory of God and the use of our citizens.
The mission of Coleman Technical Industries is to manufacture products that meet national and international standards in quality, performance, reliability and safety within a well-defined timeline and at very competitive prices. That is what we witnessed firsthand when we visited the factories. The Shagamu plant, an architectural masterpiece, is a pioneer factory commissioned in December 2014 to produce medium-high voltage XLPE cables. Head quality control at the Shagamu factory of Coleman Technical Industries Limited takes us on a tour of the factory.
Welcome to Coleman Wire and Cable. Here is phase 2, where the medium voltage and low voltage cables is being produced. And the medium voltage is rubber insulated cable, and the low voltage are PVC insulated, SFP insulated, and PE insulated cable, both armored and non-armored. And here we will see some machine that are running and the cables under the production too. And here, by my right, we are going to start from the bunching machine. Here are the bunching machine, and they are designed to lay up a wire of different sizes up to 50 4 by 50 mm square. Here is running 4 by 60 mm square, and the one by my left is running 4 by 35 mm square red lane. And you can easily see the specification and the design of the two sizes. We have 4 colors: red, yellow, blue, and black. So, this is the operation in charge. As you can see, the machines are all in motion. They are designed to lay up insulated, round-stranded cable, right from 6 mm, 10 mm square, 60 mm square, 25 mm square, and 35 mm square. Coleman in general produce according to the standard specification, both the national and international, the IEC standard, and also we are governed by some regulatory bodies.
Coleman is committed to manufacturing consistent quality wires and cables that meet and exceed customers' expectations.
If you want to produce electric cable, we have 2 main conductors to be used. In some other area, maybe more than 2. But here, we lay emphasis on 2 main conductors. It's either the cable is produced with aluminum conductor or copper conductor. Aluminum conductor comes in a jumbo also, but on the average, a jumbo of aluminum is about 2 tons. And diameter over of aluminum conductor is 9.5 mm. But for copper comes on the average, let's say 4 tons. And the diameter over on that copper rod is 8 mm. That's just the difference between the two. And copper is having a higher density than aluminum. So it depends on what the customer wants. Customer must specify, I need a copper conductor to be used for my cable. I need aluminum conductor to be used for my cable. Based on whatever customer says, we produce accordingly.
Executive Director at Coleman Industries Nigeria Limited, Engineer Michael Onofokon, spoke on the product offerings of the company.
For us, specializing each unit to do a certain group of products enables us to become more proficient in its manufacture, and it makes our processes even more efficient. So the reason why we have Shagamu 1, 2, 3, and 4, Arepa 1, 2, and 3, each of those sections do a particular category of cables. So for example, Arepa 1 does all our wiring cables and light PVC cables and flexible cables. They also do our TV cables and Cat5 and Cat6 cables, which are for telecoms. Because we do that, the range of cables that they do there is limited. It's not 600, it's more about 40 or 50. That ensures that because we're doing it repetitively and we're focused on those categories of cables, we're able to do them more efficiently, because the people become more specialized, they become more efficient, and the process gives us high quality end products that is suitable for the market each time. So the other sections, Arepa 2 is into flexible conductors for inverters, for solar applications. So all our flexibles and flexible cords and harnesses come from Arepo 2. They are specialized in that particular product, and they deliver it at high efficiency quickly. Arepo 3, which is where we are, is a fiber optic plant specialized in providing all categories of fiber optic cables. Shagamu 1 is our medium voltage factory where we make cables up to and including 36 kV. Those will serve your transformers, your substations, your intracity and intercity cables, and are provided that. Shagamu 2 is our marine cable factory and gap cable factory. Marine cables are for floating platforms, the oil rigs, the oil service companies. That particular plant provides cables for the oil industry and is specialized in that. Shagamu 3 is our smelting plant, which is due to be commissioned at the end of the year, where we'll make all our aluminum and all our copper requirements required by the entire Coleman facilities or factories across board. Shagamu 4, which is the next project that we're currently at about maybe 40% completion, will provide prepaid meter cables and special gap cables. For copper, we can process about 12,000 metric tons. For aluminium, about 8,000 metric tons annually. The fiber optic plant will produce close to about 200,000 kilometers annually. And those are the immediate capacities that we have installed. One of our main philosophies is to domicile production of all types of cables locally.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Coleman, Mr. George Onofo, spoke more on the journey of the company.
Coleman Wires and Cable was started by the founder, Ashwaju SK Onofo, 47 years ago. And in those days, he wanted to go into manufacturing because he had some other businesses. And based on that, he set up Coleman Technical Industries to try and produce Coleman coolers in those days. But that never really happened. So they continued in business of trade, in different types of trade relating to electronics, electricals, products, including cables. And later down the years, by 1996, we went into the production of cables. So the business has it metamorphosed from one trading business into actual manufacture of one of the products it was trading, which was in those days cables and wires. Coleman today is technically a one-stop shop in terms of electrical cables. We're able today to produce house wiring cable for your needs in your home. We have the biggest volume in production in the whole of West Africa, and technically almost in Africa today in terms of wiring cable. Today you can buy also not only as wiring cable, your flexible conductors, your flat cable conductors, all in Coleman today. Cat 5, Cat 6, which were network cable, were part of what we initiated about 8-9 years ago during the BOI combination to do the first Cat 5, Cat 6 cable in country today. We're the only in-country producer in West Africa for Cat 5 and Cat 6. Also for your TV cable, which is called the RG59, the RG56, we're also producers of that in country today. 2014, we became the first high voltage and 15 in Africa also in-country production of insulated XLP high voltage cable up to 36 kV. Transmission, in terms of that, we later on have moved our cable production to be able to now produce gap cable for other transmission apart from ACSR. ABC reclaimed conductors, which is for your metering. We're also becoming the biggest producer of reclaimed in the continent actually. By the end of this year, we're currently the biggest in our own region here today. But by the end of this year, I think we're definitely guaranteed to be the biggest in the continent in terms of the new projects we're doing. And with that, we're solving both your distribution, your power, your metering. Oil and gas, we're a total solution for the oil and gas in this country. Today, there's no cable anybody in this country will need as an individual, as a business, as a company, as for infrastructure that Coleman cannot produce in large scale at the right price.
Coleman Technical Industries is a proudly Nigerian-owned company.
Our own direction of business was more in tune with what is called an indigenous company, which is how do we produce in this country and how do we gain capacity. And part of that foundation was made a success by one simple principle. We never believed Coleman should ever import anything in terms of products we make. So if I cannot in turn make a product that you've asked me for, I have to be forced to look at how do I create a production plan for it locally. That really was our own catalyst. Coleman views itself as a national business, which means we need to appear our products in every part of the country. And you can only scale up to appear in every part of the country, put in the right scale, put in the right business, and put in the right product mix in place to allow it. And automation has been key to our system. Driving technology transfers into our system. And we're very proud that majority, at least today, 98% of our workforce are Nigerians.
Coleman ensures continual improvement of processes and service delivery through staff development, motivation, and creation of a conducive work environment.
The tenacity of Nigerians, when you give them an opportunity, when you believe in them, is extraordinary. And for me, that factory is a pride of Nigeria because it was 99% fully set up by Nigerians. If you don't believe in your own people, we will carry a lot of expatriates. But because we believe that you must train and transfer knowledge, we carry 98% more Nigerians at work. And we have developed them in the right way. At a point, we had over 400 workers, and we had one expatriate. Today, we expect to increase growth because of the new plants we're building to over 1,000 to 2,000 workers. Now, it has worked because we've had the belief that the Nigerians are capable. Our total management team are Nigerian. I'll say more than 30% of my workforce really got their first jobs here, and they're still here. So their first NYSC trial was here. We most likely will retain about 50% of our NYSC because we spend a lot of time training them. We make a profit in a year, everybody to the last man gets a part of that profit year in, year out. So for me, it's always been a policy of life should not be about the salary. It should be about the incentives that grow you. Now, you should not grow as a leader and your team do not grow at the same percentage of rate. That's my own philosophy.
Mr. Onokon spoke further on the impact of Coleman's relationship with the Bank of Industry.
I am a Bank of Industry advocate, and everybody says, why? I said, look, it is only the Bank of Industry that is long-term thinking. It is there to push industry. It is there to push what you would not do. And I think they're the best supporter. They're the best development bank we have, because today, in 10 years of Bank of Industry support, for a business that really grew over the last 15 years, 10 years of it with Bank of Industry has changed the whole dynamics. We've grown, I'll say we leaped 20 years forward with 10 years. And you cannot have a bank that can leap you to a decade ahead of your direction and to achieve something you have achieved in 2 decades, in 20 years, in 10 years, and not say they're not doing something right. And so for me, the Bank of Industry was a catalyst to my vision, to the vision we had of the business, to the vision the whole team had of where we're going with this company, of what we can achieve in Nigeria. Now, the Bank of Industry has not only turned itself to a catalyst of a solution for cable, like in the case of Coleman, for the whole country. Now, the Bank of Industry has turned itself to a solution for not only Nigeria, for also exports. And they're not turning for export, they're now solving another country's problem from this place. So there's no way we can say that the Bank of Industry's relationship with Coleman has not been a fantastic catalyst of growth, positivity, job creation, in every way you can say. So for me, I'll tell you that we cannot have a country without a bank of industry. Nigeria cannot be a success story without a bank of industry. Coronation and Wema Bank were strengths for us in terms of our relationship with Bank of Industry. There were banks that saw Bank of Industries as collaborators, as partners of progress for their clients. I think the success story with those two banks with us today has been the mere fact that they saw partnership and they saw potential benefit over the long term of those relationships to their individual banks. I think today, the Bank of Industry has even done a lot more, because I know people now that go to Bank of Industry as low a loan as 10 million now. And that is a change for the better, because now it's gone to SMEs, it's gone to small scale, it's going to the medium scale, it's going to the large companies like ours, which authoritatively was a small micro business at a point in time, but has been able to move from small to medium to a very large scale business today, all on the scale of relationship with Bank of Industry.
We are very delighted, very happy in Bank of Industry to support projects like this. And I call on all Nigerians who will want to manufacture anything that is ordinarily imported from outside the country to come to Bank of Industry. The doors are open. We will be glad to support you with low interest rates. Our interest rates are single digit. In some cases, it's as low as 5%. In some cases, it's as low as 8%. And we can give you long-term loans that will last up to 7 years, that will give you sufficient moratorium that will enable you to set up the factory before you start repaying.
Welcome back. Remember at the start of the program, I told you the story of Coleman Technical Industries Limited will inspire you. Well, I hope it did. The success of every business is for it to stand the test of time. It is not often to come across companies with a lifespan of over 40 years and still waxing stronger. A company that is able to produce world-class goods that stand side by side with imported ones. All Coleman Technical Industries Limited's products are certified locally and internationally by regulatory and monitoring agencies. Coleman is ISO 9001:2015 certified. What more can I say than to heartily commend the promoters and management of Coleman Technical Industries Limited. Thank you for watching today's edition of BOI Impact. I am Hadiza. Bye for now.